Hello, welcome to GED exam preparation class. I am your host and instructor, Ruben Herrera. And on this video, my friends, in this lesson, we are going to learn how to do multiplication and division of negative numbers. Okay, so in the lesson prior to this, we learned two things. We learned about the number line, and we learned that it is a horizontal line, and then right here at the center we have right here the number 0, and then we have these numbers right here going into this direction from left to right, and these are the positive numbers. We also learned that the farther that number goes away from the 0, the bigger the number it is. And then right here on this side right here, we have the negative numbers. And with the negative numbers, we know that they're negative numbers because they have this little minus sign right here. And also we learned that negative numbers go in the opposite direction. They go from right to left. And the further that negative number goes away from the 0, the smaller the number is. We also use this number line to learn how to do operation with symbols, or what we call operation with signed numbers, or operations with negative numbers. For example, right here we have -2 plus 3 is equals to 1. We learned that, for example, if I'm right here on this -2 right here, and I'm gonna add 3 positive, meaning that I'm gonna go 3 spaces to the right, I'm gonna count 1, 2, and 3, and then I will end up right here on the positive number 1, and this is why I have, as a result, my number 1 right here. We learned this on the previous lesson, but now we're gonna learn something new. Okay, utilizing also the rules of the symbols, which we also learned on the prior lesson. We are going to learn now how to multiply and divide numbers. Multiply and divide numbers, that is, with negative symbols or with symbols. For example, right here I have a multiplication, and on your GED exam your multiplication may be represented with parentheses. It may have a little dot right there in the center, or it may have the X, but you're also gonna see it represented like this with a parenthesis. So I have right here 2 times 3 is equals to 6, and then I have 2 times 4 is equals to 8. Now, let us learn something new. What if, for some reason, our multiplication have negative numbers like this? -2 times 3 right here. Okay, so notice that I have -2 times 3 is equals to -6. And let us see why. Because whenever it comes to multiplying and dividing, we are gonna also utilize the rules of the symbols right here. Okay, so to solve either a multiplication or division with negative numbers or with symbols, I like to use the following workflow. It's only 2 steps. The first step is that I'm gonna go ahead and solve for the multiplication or division ignoring the symbols. I'm just gonna pretend that right here I only know about the 2, and I'm only seeing the 2, and I am only seeing that 3 right here. Okay, so my first step is gonna be this. My first step out of the 2. First, I'm gonna multiply. I'm gonna multiply 2 times 3, and 2 times 3 is equals to 6. Okay, my next step, my second and last step, I'm gonna now look at the symbols right here. I have a negative symbol right here, and I don't have any symbol in here. So this is assuming that if I don't have any symbols in here, it is assumed that this is a positive number. So I have right here a negative and I have a positive. Then I'm gonna look at my rule in here. Okay, a positive and a negative is equals to a negative. Therefore, my result, 6, is also going to be negative. Okay, very nice. So let us do this again real quick. 2 steps. First, I'm going to multiply the numbers, ignoring the negative symbols or the symbols in general. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is equals to 6. Step number 2, I'm going to look at my symbols, a negative and a positive, and a negative and a positive right here, okay, is equals to a negative right here. Therefore, my result is going to be a negative. Let us look at the next problem right here. I have negative 2 times positive 4. 2 times 4 is equals to 8. A negative and a positive is equals to a negative. Okay, so that's why my result is going to be minus 8. Okay, now what if, my friends, both of the numbers were negatives? Well, I'm going to use the same thing, the same process, the same thing. I'm going to do 2 times 3 is equals to 6, and then a negative times a negative, or a negative and a negative, is equals to a positive. So therefore, my result is going to be a positive 6 in this case. Okay, now 2 times 4 right here on the next problem, I have 2 times 4 is equals to 8, and a negative is equals to a positive. An easier way for me to remember this rule, but this only applies when you have multiplication and division, is that whenever the symbols are the same, the result is always going to be positive. Whenever the symbols are different, the result is going to be negative. Okay? All right, my friends. So let us look at division problems. With divisions, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to use the same process. I'm going to first divide the numbers, ignoring the negative symbols or the symbols, and then I'm gonna use the rules of the symbols right here, this little table that I have for you. Let us warm up right here with some regular divisions with no symbols. Right here I have that 4 divided by 2 is equals to 2. They're both positive, so it really doesn't matter. Look, the result is going to be positive. Next, right here I have 8 divided by 4 is equals to 2. Next, I have right here minus 4 divided by 2 is equals to minus 2. And let us see why. Okay, first I'm going to look at these two numbers right here, 4 and 2, just by themselves. I'm just going to look, by the way, we call these integers, or the basis is just the number by itself. It's just the value. We're not looking at the symbols right now, whether they are positive or negative. 2 divided by 4 is equals to 2, and a negative and a positive, and we are assuming that this 2 is positive because we don't see a symbol there. So if you don't see a symbol, we assume that the number is positive. So we have a negative and a positive is equals to a negative and a positive is equals to a negative right here on my table. So therefore my result is also negative. Negative 8 divided by 4 is equals to negative 2. Okay. And then now I have right here an example where both of the numbers, both of the bases are negative. Sometimes your GED exam is going to put parentheses on this, and this is just to keep you organized. We don't have to worry about these two symbols being side by side. This rule, the rule of the symbols side by side, only apply whenever we are doing addition and subtraction. So I have 4 divided by 2 is equals to 2. And next, I look at my symbols. A negative and a negative right here is equals to a positive. So therefore, this is why my result right here was positive 2. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is going to be equals to positive 2. So as you can tell, my friends, multiplying and dividing with sign numbers or with negative numbers is very simple. All we have to do is just do the multiplication or division like we always done it, and then after that just look at the symbols, and right here this little table right here is going to tell us whether our result at the end is going to be positive or is going to be negative right here, this little table right here. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next lesson. Bye bye.